This is, it's a baseball with little chickens in it.
Baseball.
Those are 3 of them. Aren't they cute? We'll hold them there for a second. And then I've got the little
brown one.
You want to go with your brothers and sisters?
Put in there.
Or whatever they are?
He wants to get out.
Okay. Now, look at that.
The little brown one likes
to be held.
He does like to be held. Anyway, guys, there you go.
There's the babies.
That's the incubator. I'll put them down.
No, not the incubator. Oh, the ones
no,
that hatch.
this is the product of the incubator.
Look, I'm all super like don't.
Mandy
they can't get out of it, but it makes me like. Tell me that those are not adorable. Oh my gosh.
Those are Tiny's kids. Tiny needs a job.
Tiny definitely needs a job. I'll let you take them. Okay, guys. Now listen. So there's 4 of them, and Tiny. Let's see, Tiny.
You guys back in.
How old is he? Well, they said he was like 18 months old. So we've been trying to figure out what kind of job he could get to participate in this whole thing. Yeah, exactly. What kind of what can a Rhode Island Red rooster do to earn some money? Because nobody's gonna carry the burden. No, I'm just kidding. Now, the other thing is this, and I don't let the other ones hear, but there's something about when you put them in an incubator and hatch them, and you are the first person, like you're the first thing that they see when you pick them up and put them, I think that they are way less scared. They're like almost like from the beginning, they have an attachment to you just because you're the first thing they saw.
They haven't even seen their mom and dad yet.
No. It's been raining for 4 days straight.
Yeah.
I keep meaning to make the video where I'm going to take him out there and be like, Tiny, look, guy, look what we got, Tiny.
You need to get you a job now. But
he'll be like, they're not mine. Tiny, you're the only rooster here. It's you, and that's it. Do you think that Red would know they're hers?
See, all of these chickens are under a year old, but Tiny. Mm-hmm. Tiny has probably seen babies when he was at the other place.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The other ones haven't.
The biggest, we were talking about when they, I don't know why, when they ship them in the mail or whatever, that, because these, like, I mean, they would already be on, like, they're this age is when they send them, right? Or even younger.
Younger. I mean, they hatch them, and they're usually alive for about 12 hours until they're just fluffy. And then they give them that little vaccination that you can give them when they're little. And they put them in a box, and they ship them to whoever.
Yeah, I don't agree with shipping live chickens.
I really don't anymore.
I don't.
After having these ones.
Hey, Jesse and me, I don't. The eggs are one thing, if you get them and you put them in the incubator, but used to, like, when we would walk in with the ones that get, hey, let it go, get shipped from the time you put them in or whatever, every time we walk into the room, they run to the other side. These literally just kind of stop and look, and you can reach in.
You can reach in, and then when you try to put them down, they kind of like the warmth. They like to be held. So when the chickens would come in, when I would receive them, this is the first time they come out of the shell. They I think they come straight out of the incubator. They get their first immunization. They go into the box, and they get shipped to wherever. So the very first time they're really free in a brooder or whatever, they're probably 4 days old, 3 days old.
And that's why I'm like, is the trauma of that, like, is that something that kind of determines how they're going to be for the rest of their life? Not skittish, but like that lack of trust.
Yeah, I mean, so today is Wednesday, right? So these were born Sunday and Monday.
They'd be back that ass up.
Back that ass up. So right about now, they would be getting, like, if they put them in the mail Monday morning and they shipped them express, they'd be getting there now.
Okay.
And they'd be getting like today or tomorrow.
Do you know that Sawyer is he is so sweet, and he's so like. Of course, we don't want to pick him up or whatever, but he has a little chicken stuffed baby, and he will carry it around gently.
You're a good boy.
He carries
You
it around as
are.
gently as he can, and then he's got kind
He's
of
real.
a, hey, Michaela.
And that's the thing is that when we go into the chicken room, he's all excited, and he kind of tries to get in there and all that. When I had them in the little baseball right there, he was all like,
Yeah, he doesn't like them to be anywhere.
I
that
couldn't
they're not.
imagine him like hurting one on purpose. You know,
No.
like a cat. You know, you might see the cat might. It's their instinct. They might grab for it. I don't think our cats would do it on purpose, maliciously.
No.
But that's what cats do. Some dogs do. I couldn't see Sawyer do it at
I
all.
can't either, and not because like, he's got a certain maternal nature, even though he's a male.
Yeah.
He's very gentle with things. He when during the season when Ellie would bring a mole back, the little things, she'd hunt them down and leave them. He did not. He'd walk out and he would
Yeah.
veer away from it or whatever.
We still haven't seen. Yeah, that's just they want me to
No, I
help them.
know.
on it.
Baseball stuff, y'all.
No, that was Sunday. Help somebody on Sunday because they're not working Sunday. They want me to help them get their station ready, and I will. That's the guy who had the baby, so he's coming back
We
to
were
work,
gonna
so,
give them something.
Yeah, we can.
How many does he have?
It's not like chickens. He didn't have like quadruplets.
But y'all, he was freaking watching the game while she was in labor. But you know what?
He was watching the Georgia game, and he's texting me back and forth, and I'm like, bro.
I wouldn't have a problem with that. You know how like when you do like when you're in labor, it's this family thing.
Hey, yoga pants.
You don't really when you're in pain, you just like, I don't need you to comfort me. I need you just to stay right there. I mean, that's how I was. I was like, no pats on, whatever. And I don't know if all women, I think it takes both. But there's really nothing a man can say to make it better. I don't agree with you're the one that did this to me. That's overrated. But I didn't want any. It is.
I do.
It's overrated.
I'm genuinely interested in this.
Yeah, that's so overused. But like, you don't want to. I didn't want a hand on my back. I was like, and then I had the epidural, and then everything's fine. But
yeah, I mean, I had the hardest with my youngest one. The other ones were just kind of like,
yeah,
it was.
Did she have cesareans with all of them, or was she able to have to the first one?
Just the first one.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, in Germany they did a little incision,
He's
like
amused.
just below and it's really small. I mean, and they did it a specific way so that she wouldn't have to have cesareans the whole time.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
I know Trisha Paytas had a cesarean, and she's trying to get pregnant already, and she wants to have a natural delivery.
Yeah.
But she's got a big scar.
Yoga's like, Sean is amused. It's
just when people say that, when it's like, you son of a bitch, you're the one that did it. Now, maybe some people do feel that way. That's not something that...
But I don't think they're feeling that way, like, out of genuine anger. I think it's just that, like, I mean, I don't know. They want to kind of, like, empathically... this is what I'm going through, and I don't know.
I think it would definitely be different with you, but that's a whole new. But I remember just, especially with the first one, because she's induced, I would be like we'd like, I guess I said I don't know what to do, and he was like, breathe, and I was like,
no.
We didn't take any of the Lamaze classes.
You're not.
We didn't take Lamaze class. We didn't do any of that. I remember I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. You know what I mean? So anyways.
I mean.
But according to Spirit Finder, I have no children.
Yeah. I'm just hoping that, like, if that does ever happen to us, I can get off work.
That's kind of what
is like.
That's kind of what started it, because you were talking about Nelson, and I was like, this dude was like keeping up with sports. I think it's a nice distraction. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, and the thing about having a baby is it's not like a month later.
No.
You'd have time to get ready. You're so ready when you so.
They say, is it true? They say after 40 that they pretty much make you have a cesarean. Is that true? See, he does this to me all the time. What?
We're live right now, Sawyer Brown.
He's doing it.
Oh
He's
my
doing his.
God. Okay, well,
Did
no, we're
anyone
not getting up
catch-
right now. We're not.
Did anyone catch Plain Jane's live stream of Spirit Finder, who was then streaming under? She was streaming under jackbooted fish-eyed fool because she got a hate speech strike. Surprise, surprise.
Fool.
Did
Good
anybody
stuff.
see that? Like, she was all kinds of jacked up. She said that I'm an Adderall addict. Wrong wife. She said that I have no children, and that Sean has no children. He can't give me any children. 3 daughters, 2 kids. Okay, and that we're in Texas. Hey, Megan, you're still in class. But what was hilarious is Plain Jane was streaming Spirit Finder, and we're all blocked and Tammy's saying nobody can talk because she keeps everybody blocked, but she couldn't do anything about what was being said, and that thing right there.
I think maybe the cat, he's trying to get my attention to do something. Come on, what do you want me to know?
I thought he just wanted you to throw his toy like you did.
Oh, he's like acting weird, dude.
So anyways, it was pretty entertaining. And then he said, there's nothing I can do about the fact that Sean slept with Trisha before you. And I was like, that's how it works with first wife. Was there one in there? He might just want to see that they're back in there safely. That's probably what it is. But she was mad. Oh, she was mad. I know, Karen. I was like, we're talking OG people in that stream, and she's reading it. And then all of a sudden she said she needed eye drops. She couldn't read anymore. And I was like, yeah, I bet you can't. But she was like, when she said I had no kids, I was like, I've got 2 kids, one of which is in the Army, younger than your son, and outranks him. There's that. And people were laughing. And I was like, I know that's petty, but dang. If it's gonna, if you're gonna start dragging me for like whatever, it's like, well, let's get down to brass tacks.
Wasn't Tammy talking about how she wants her channels to go away or something like that?
Yeah, she said that's their goal, and someone said, well, you just delete it. And she goes, no, I want to go down. And she was calling Jesus and F.A. She was calling, I'm like, I think you're going to go to hell. I don't even think you can pray your way out of that one.
Where's William when this is happening?
He was there. She kept trying to say, to get him to say that he understood why she was saying that and whatever. And I was like, anyway, it's Spirit Finder. A lot of people don't know who she is. If you know her, you know her. She's been around for a while. She goes in cycles. Everyone's pretty sure when she's really off the chain, she's out of her Klonopin.
Really?
Yeah. They're pretty sure that's what's going on.
When I took Klonopin years ago, I guess it does make you anxious afterwards. That's what it is. It's an anti-anxiety, right?
It's a benzo, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's what keeps her sedated. But I think it keeps her sedated at a dose that she runs out.
Well, I think we're pretty sure that she goes like mandatory inpatient for a certain amount of time. And if the people that like watch her patterns of behavior, when she goes off the grid, it's normally because she's somewhere.
She's had to.
Yeah.
I like your hair. It looks very,
I washed it for you tonight.
It looks nice. It really does. I like
I'm
it.
supposed to,
We were laughing at some of the clips that Paula had, she had played some things that were like unlisted, and we were having a good laugh about that. And I was like, I said, well, you got a lot to prove tonight. You better, and I was just kidding.
So, yeah, my little take on everything that's happened now that there's been court action is it's about par for the course. The only thing different that I'm surmising from everything is that maybe the judge is now going, okay, we're going to see this one completely through. And now the people that are saying, oh, she got arraigned or this or that, if it was the shoe was on the other foot, if Paula had filed the charges, then Trisha would have been arraigned.
Yeah.
That's all it is. That's all that is. She's going to have her day in court. She's got an attorney, and the attorney's going to say, this is what she did. This is what she did. And which the repercussions for either side can be a little bit more serious. I mean, but my opinion is Judge Wells isn't just going to say, all right. I mean, you got to remember a couple of things with this. It's the state of North Carolina. The state, if you look at these cases that we've seen in the drama community, I would say more than half of them have happened in North Carolina. You look at the people that have been in court and bringing people, Trisha Savage has been involved in some courtroom stuff. Paula. North Carolina has very, very loose laws. We've had to go to court from a different state. It's and it's all. This is the same judge, in Onslow County. Not Savage.
Rich
He's
Life.
just someone else that.
Rich Life went to
Right.
court.
Savage not in Onslow County, Rich Life not in Onslow County, but it's very, very easy. I mean, you guys remember how surprised were you guys that Mandi and I had to go from another part of the country to North Carolina during a pandemic? It's very my attorney said it's very, very easy to get these type of things. Remember Trisha with Miss Fairygarden? Remember that? Miss Fairygarden was arraigned, but she had an attorney, and that was the end of that. It never went to court.
Just for a second.
I want people to remember that. This is not the same laws that they have like in Texas or in California or whatever. That's the first thing. But what I believe is you have Judge Wells. I believe he was the judge that presided in the case that Mandi and I had to go to. He's been the one that have seen Paula and Trisha. He's seen this stuff. He sits on this domestic court, right? And I think this time when he said we're going to turn the phones over and all that, there were people in the Twitterverse that were saying things like they didn't have to turn this show as proof. That something happened where Judge Wells said, all right, we're going to take this one forward. And then they continued it, right? And then he came forward and he said, okay, well, here's this. So you are going to be arraigned on these charges that Trisha has written down, that has brought forth. That doesn't mean anything. And then they're not even going to do the court until February. And it's probably got a lot to do with the holidays. So they're going to wait 2 months before they do it. I remember the eHeart thing. It was very, very similar. The only difference is no one turned any electronic devices over. They just said, we don't have proof or this or that. But if this continues to happen, if you come to court again, they told us, we will bring it forward. If you remember, this is the second time, right, for Paul and Trisha, right? Isn't this the second?
I believe so, yeah.
So they probably said the first time, if you come back, we're going to take the next step. That's what has happened. And the step is, the filing was as Paul as the defendant, Trisha as the plaintiff. So that's how they're moving forward with it. Paul is still going to have her day during she was arraigned during the hearing. An arraignment isn't guilty. That's not guilty. It's not a verdict.
Hey,
It's none of that.
No.
It's just they said, okay, we are going to go forward with this case. That's all.
Yep.
They could have done it the last time they were in court, but they needed a continuance. So that's all it is.
Yeah,
it's just like the first appearance.
I was like, the people that were like reposting it about it. Rain doesn't mean.
I mean, there are people, and you see this with all over the drama community. There are people that
Hey, Levi.
they don't like TT. They're not for her. They just want to see something bad happen to Paula because they don't like Paula. They're not cheering for anything.
Don't say it 2 more times. She'll appear.
I know.
She's off the grid. No.
Oh, the other one?
She's off the grid.
So that's the only reason I bring it up is I see people that just in the name of, these are people that talk about how they don't like toxic people and they don't like this, they don't like that, but they're cheering this on simply because they don't like a certain person. I still believe at the end of the day, I think they'll go in February. I think it'll get continued a couple times. And then at the end of it, it'll be nothing.
Yeah. Moxie kind of touched on that today when they were live about that she's surprised at the people that are kind of like sticking it to Paula that the beast has done stuff to them.
Right.
And then they're choosing to,
They're not liking Paula. These are the same. There's a couple people that like they used Angela. They don't really care too much about.
Don't say that twice, 3 times.
They don't really care that much about the big picture. They're just really hyper focused and have tunnel vision on the certain thing that they don't like.
Yeah.
And so they'll use anybody and use any kind of postings or whatever. They'll use your information just in the name of somebody else that they don't like. They don't care who they use.
Yes.
This is no different.
Yes.
So there you go.
I think the reason he doesn't want Scout near. What I figured out what was wrong with him was he didn't like that he couldn't see inside the baseball to see that the chicks weren't in that thing anymore.
He didn't. Oh,
you know the baseball thing you had him in. He was trying to. He couldn't see that they.
Oh yeah, that they were okay.
Right. So I was like, and then now Scout tried to go. They can't get in there. The door's shut. But Sawyer's like, no.
Karen says, I think Paula has a few tricks up her sleeve. I think that when you pay an attorney, they know what they're doing. That's the main thing. And all I can do is go back on the cases that we were in. We hired an attorney. They do their job. As long as you don't keep acting like an idiot, like my ex-wife did. You know, he had an attorney. She would have never been in trouble for what she got in trouble for. But her pattern of behavior kept on and kept on and kept on to the point where, you know, the courts finally were like, no, we can't do this. We can't let this slide. So, yeah, I mean, I think Karen's right. I don't think it's like tricks per se. I think that when you pay an attorney, you say, well, we're not going to let this stick. We're going to fight it, and we're going to prove, you know, what we're going to prove. I'm not worried for Paula at all. That's what I, you know, when I heard about all this, I say, all right, it's all par for the course. But there are people in the Twitterverse and in the YouTubeverse that want to make it bigger than it is.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Apparently there was a thing before it got started. The Beast like held hands with somebody that was at court, and they were like praying. Like, you know how dramatic she is.
Then she probably immediately started to turn to the left and right and start flirting with somebody that's a
defendant.
A defendant in a domestic case, while the person who has been beaten is up on, you know, giving their testimony to the judge. She's trying to get a date with, you know.
Those clips were wild though, Paula. I really didn't have Paula had said, what does it bother, if they're in it together, what bother you? And I really didn't. But some of them I hadn't even there was a period, we didn't watch anything from about, when we got together for almost like Christmas or so. Is that when it was? So I hadn't seen some of those, but, it was interesting because apparently y'all had words. And
yeah, I saw that. I saw a clip today that it's like, oof. But anyway.
And then she was like, some couples throw pots and pans at each other. Some,
I go straight to bunk beds. But,
yeah, it was cute though. It was funny. It was good to see him, just from a whole different.
Hey Vibes, how you doing? Yeah, you know, I've been there. I've been in New York. I've been in the North Carolina courts more than I'm not like saying that in a bragging way. I just was. And what you have to prove, I mean, that's what our attorney, you know, when I was on the other side of it and we were defendants in that case with Crystal Ehart, our attorney was like, okay, this is the charges. And with these charges, there's a bunch of things that they have to meet, you know, and it's hard to do. I mean, it's hard to do.
And to make it go the whole distance or whatever.
And there's a bunch of criteria that have to be met. And the other side of it, the plaintiff can't be antagonistic of it. You know, it has to be like a really one-sided thing. If it ends up being a pattern like a cat fight, it goes away. And yes, I asked my attorney in our case when we were there, it's just really who cries foul first. And they're like, yeah, that's what happens, is who runs down to the magistrate first. And that North Carolina has a long way to go to update their cyber laws.
I think that they have, sooner rather than later, they're going to go through and rein in their loopholes and their gray area.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And see, like they've got to. It's ridiculous. And it's not the only state like that, but it is.
It's one of the more, like, I haven't been in court in every state, but I've done things in Georgia. I've done things in this state. And this is way different when it comes to being able to bring like protection orders and things like that. Rhode Island was very liberal and very strict, and it's harder to get. It's harder to get those than it would be in North Carolina.
I think probably what happened is when when it started to be realized the damage that cyberbullying and things were doing to young people. There was a few suicides. There was so something needed to be done. So I think in order to they whatever, threw everything at it with the laws, like you cannot do, because it was happening so often. And then now that it's been some time, they need to start closing up some of those. Well, what does cyberbullying mean? It means this,
Right.
and this. What does it not mean? This, and that.
One thing that we do know is that law enforcement get blamed a lot for things that,
High vibes.
that they don't have. I mean, what kind of impunity and what kind of authority and privilege does law enforcement have when they respond to something like a domestic? I know in the state of Rhode Island, I have relatives that Rhode Island law enforcement, and I was up there and with all the crap that she pulled on me, and my relatives said, and some of y'all that might have lived up there, we got a Christmas card from someone up there. So if they're in the chat, you'll know what I'm talking about. We got a Christmas card from Narragansett.
Don't forget the Christmas card.
Yes,
they're coming in, and
we'll drop that in there. We're getting them.
It's
we
really
pulled them
cool.
all down from behind because we're responding to them, and they're all in the mail. If you have sent us a card, we have responded.
Yes.
So we're up to date with that.
I keep every day. I have a list of things that I want to accomplish to get things packed up. There's stuff that I want mailed no later than Friday, and it will happen. But Karen knows about my. I'm married to someone that works at the post office.
Yeah, I mean, it's not.
And I still
there's really no excuse.
I still can't get it done.
It's we're laying there, and I get I work long days and all that, and she'll be like, I'll be like laying there, kind of watching the ball game, and she's just working on cards and stuff next to me in the bed, and she'll just go, here, wake up, sign this one, and I'll be like, oh, and I'll sign my name to it, and
he reads.
I read the cards that I get. And
if y'all send more than one, you'll get more than one.
And but she's the one and then she hands them off to me, and I take them and I make sure they have the proper postage and this and that. And we've got one from overseas, so
one year the post office actually had printable postage stamps. You could buy them at the post office and run them through your printer. There was like 2 test pages because you had to make sure you could do it right before you put it through. And I don't think they've done it since. Probably someone defrauded with it or whatever. But I put pictures. It was pictures of my kids. And I had an aunt. I had an aunt that when she got the Christmas card in the mail and she looked at it and she was like, oh, of course Mandi would do that. She would have personalized stamps of her child. And she was saying it like, if anybody is going to do it, it's going to be her.
It's kind of like Karen with her candy.
Yeah.
Of course she's doing that.
Of course she is.
What I was saying with that
Karen is feeling better, everybody.
Yeah, that's good.
Way better. So is her husband.
And Hubs too. Mm-hmm. Yep. Back to being chicken farmers.
He backed that ass up and went to work.
Back to being chicken farmers and vegetable canning and stuff.
No more Cujo rooster.
I know. Get out with the old.
I told her. I said, if you. No. So I'm gonna answer that in just a second. But yeah, this hey Moose Knuckle, this rooster, I think y'all heard us talk about it. I said, well, if you pack it up and send it here, like we just said, we don't agree with mailing them, but they do mail roosters. I said, we'll give it a
rooster.
go. And Karen was like, no, this rooster will attack the dog. It will attack
Let me tell you. I will tell you.
It will chase you down like a rabbit animal.
People bring live roosters and they mail them.
And you say they're pigs.
And they're in that box, and they're like freaking...
Especially if they're next to another
demons in there. Yeah, especially if they're... Yeah, so sometimes they actually have 2 bantam roosters, and they put them in the same box, but they put a divider.
Oh, that's awful.
It's awful.
It's like a beta fish.
When they bring not a divider where they can see each other, but they're just...
No, but still, they can hear each other.
So, like, they bring the box in, and it's like... You grab it, and roosters.
You sent me a video of it one time.
They like growl and stuff, and they get pissed off.
But yeah,
So-
Karen's little Cujo rooster, she was like, no, Mandy, you don't understand. It will take off in a dead sprint across the yard to get the dog or to
That's
get
when
her.
you just rear back
she
your
tried,
foot. And
it
you
didn't
punt.
work. It didn't work. It wouldn't. So anyway, I thought that was so funny. I was like, I don't mean to laugh, Karen, but it is
rooster.
a leghorn
It was
rooster.
a leghorn rooster, yeah.
We can't get Tiny to fight.
And they're not
anything
even
off.
that big. They're little roosters. They don't grow like they wouldn't be as big as Tiny.
Well, Tiny apparently can make a bunch of babies, but he can't run
yeah.
off.
No, he's gonna have to get a job now. But this law enforcement, like I said, I have family up there, and they said, you know, when I was getting in the when she got me all into that trouble, I was kind of, you know, I met with them, you know, they're my family, and they said, yeah, you're not going to have anything to worry about. And he explained to me that they had a situation, and it had happened about 10 years before. This was in 2012 for us.
It was about every year she tried to take one.
Yeah, about every, yeah. And
you get into an argument, and they'd be like, that's it?
They had a particularly bad domestic where they responded to the house, and you know, Rhode Island's not a big state. And they responded to the house, and you know, the wife would be like, "No, it's okay." He calmed down. They left. They came back and forth a couple times at night, and then he ended up killing her. And so
yeah, that's when someone has to go now.
And so then they, you know, and it made it made news, and it should have. And now, if they respond to a domestic, somebody leaves. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to arrest somebody, but they will put somebody in the car, and somebody is leaving the premise. They're going to make sure that when they leave the premises, the two of you that are in the domestic are not together.
Well, in Texas, someone goes to jail. That's their law there. Someone is going to jail.
Someone will go to jail, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they get charged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Vibe said, are y'all seeing Eugenia Cooney? She's now doing Just Dance streams, almost collapses each live.
I have not.
I am going to, there is someone, if someone can help me find the link, it's of Altars and Sage or something like that. It's a British girl. She looks kind of goth, but, and she has one about the fetishists of anorexia. Someone will be able to find it. It's got millions of views. I don't think she even, there are fetishists that tune in to watch these emaciated
And Eugenia
girls
Cooney is emaciated.
struggle to remember with her makeup bucket, she goes struggle to pick it up or whatever. There are fetishists, and I'm not going to, it can be men and women, I don't know, that get off on that.
On watching them struggle carrying things.
Yeah.
So they might grab a suitcase and just walk back and forth.
I guarantee you that right now she is making
bank.
Just other things, the dancing, seeing how tiny her legs are, how, whatever. And people are always like, well, how could her mom just watch it, do whatever? Because her mom is probably loving the bankroll.
Yeah.
She probably is concerned about her daughter. There's no doubt about that. But Eugenia is supporting their lifestyle.
And I remember, watching a little bit of Eugenia. I remember we watched one where they went to the beach. Remember, Eugenia goes to the beach and she tried to blow up a beach ball and all that.
And it's just weird stuff like that.
So she goes to this beach, and where is she at? It seemed in.
She's in Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
or something.
it was didn't seem like a great sunshiny southern beach day. Like it wasn't Florida. It was a beach.
I found it.
And you could see the people kind of looking at her and trying not to gawk at her, but she's hard not to because she's literally a skeleton with skin pulled over. And I asked Mandi, I was like, someone's filming this. And Mandy's like, this is her mom. It's her mom filming it.
And she's been 5150'd, and she got a little bit better. I don't think that they're going to do it. Let me see. Here it is. I'm going to post this.
Come here, Sawyer.
This link. I don't know why
are you being such a jerk, man?
He was chewing on his little. I think he's hungry.
Are you hungry?
He's chewing on his thing. Even though I fed him, I think that he wants loaf or something. Okay. Hey, Nelson. Here it is right here. Don't watch it now. Watch us. Mm-hmm. Hey, creative newborns. How are you? There it is right there. So this girl goes in and talks about that because she somehow got into she's a recovering she has an eating disorder, but she's in recovery, and she's an odd one to look at, I'll give you that. But she got into the inner part of that crazy part of the internet, like the pro Anna fetishist part of the internet.
Like some of it's like banned sites and all that.
Yeah, and like she was reading some of the stories out loud that some of these really sick individuals had posted. And anyway, I'll let you watch that. But that was what I wanted to touch on when she had said, "Are you watching that?"
I remember for a while when she had gotten help and then she went live again. I mean, she looked better. I mean, she
looked
did
so good when she put some weight on.
And the thing is, she was a cute girl. She's a cute girl. But
right
Mandy's
now her hair
right.
is falling out, her teeth, the gums are receding.
When
it's bad.
if it's paying the bills, because I just don't know. And I asked, who's filming that? She's like, that's her mom. And I said, I couldn't do that with my kid. Not at all.
And she's never ever responded publicly about Eugenia has touched on it when she got better, but she's never out and out said, yes, I have an eating disorder. And when people ask her, like, talk about it, she didn't used to cry and get trolled easily, but now she does. And she does because she wears an adult diaper.
Wow.
And she cried and said that they had seen it wrong, that it wasn't, and she was real upset. And then there was another one where you could tell. So her organs are failing her. So what is Madre gonna do? Anyway, unpleasant. But that I wanted to post that so you could see what the heck part of why she's doing it is it's money. And when I'm torn because people say, well, they need to take her off the internet. They need to completely remove her. And she's detrimental to young people and girls and whatever. But here's my thing. Is it possible, because if anorexia is a lot about the need for control, less about the aesthetics of it, and more about the desire to control something in your life, then is it possible to pass that on to somebody else prevalently, like enough for it to be a problem? Like, that's my question. Like, I think a lot of people watch her for, just to see, how bad she gets. And it's not that they're enjoying it. Someone might enjoy it. But she literally can't get any skinnier. Oh, it has affected kids. Okay, so that's my question. She literally can't get any skinnier. It's her hair is falling out. Her gums are receding. Her voice is super high pitched because of, like,
she pants and stuff because she doesn't really have. I mean, her lungs labor.
The worst anorexic ever went into recovery. I don't know if y'all have seen it, but she reached out on social media saying, someone help me get to this hospital. I need help. And hey, Colleen. She's dying. She's dying.
She is.
And they this lady is in recovery now, and she looked like you can't even tell it's the same person. I think
she just looks better. She does.
Yeah. She was needed to get to this world-renowned hospital that her insurance didn't cover. Nobody could afford it. She pleaded on social media. I believe Dr. Phil didn't have her on there, but did it. And she got to that hospital. And she's told her story to a couple of, what do you call it, op-ed podcasting. No one and she tells her story and she talks how it starts, but she does the same thing that everyone says. She doesn't talk numbers. She won't talk numbers of what she got down to, because all of those are triggers. They don't talk about clothing sizes. You don't talk about how many miles you ran in a day. Like, let's say someone ran 25 miles a day or whatever, because of their disease. They don't say it publicly because the people watching are like, okay, well, I got to up my game.
Makes sense.
So
yeah.
I just got interested in that for a while and watched a few documentaries on it, and it's not funny whatsoever. But I remember when I was in high school, I would get pissed off about my weight, and I'm like, you know what? Starting tomorrow, I'm gonna show everybody. I'm gonna be an anorexic. I'm gonna show my whole family. And I literally made it to noon.
Really?
And it's not funny, but I'd be like, okay. And the next day, and it would be lunchtime in high school, and I would be like, Yeah, I gotta eat. I
I
can't.
think you're a fucking sandwich.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm a failure at everything. But yeah, I
I
get
mean,
it.
yeah.
Have you, when you were in high school, did you know, did you know of anyone that was like, that you saw in the hallways that were anorexic?
I mean, now as a 50-some-year-old, I think back at my high school, and no.
You
But in
don't
the
really,
80s are different. I mean, what we have now with social media, with the internet, it's much, much different. Because if you like see somebody in your
yes,
school
Levi.
that is anorexic, you may not like in the 80s, you didn't understand it like we can today. You can't just like type in anorexia and go images and then
Yeah.
look like you can now.
And most cover up their disease with baggy clothes.
Right, right.
This girl is ordering toddler-sized skirts.
Right, because it's the fetish part of it. It's like she's
It's
showing
so
that
sad.
off.
She was a beautiful girl when she like, and it doesn't make her any less beautiful. It makes it very sad. Unfortunately, with her, if she doesn't do something to help herself, we're going to be hearing about her. You know, there was another one that I watched called Educating Shani or something. Not that Shani. And she was in recovery for
That
it.
Shani needs education. But.
Yeah, she doesn't need. Anyway.
So another, and yeah, that's one that a lot of things that Mandy watches
right
and stuff
here.
like that. I'm kind of doing my thing. But with Eugenia Cooney, I would take the time to like watch it with her, and
I'm gonna share this.
not because it was
too.
a good thing, but. The other thing, and I'm going to show you a picture after this, the one that you find here, because y'all know Squirmy and Grubs, with Hannah, and then what is his name? What is
Shane?
Shane, with the she
one.
started out as his caregiver. He's not a quadriplegic. He's got what.
A muscular deterioration.
Yeah, that's right. I was totally wrong with what I just. But he has you know who he is. And they have their channel, and there's a lot of criticism over like, is their love real? Is their relationship real? So they each have their own Instagrams and this and that. But she posted a picture that I'm going to show you in a minute after you.
She always does.
No, but this one's different. I'll show you.
I already posted it. The one that I just posted is Edie Shani for eating disorder. Shani, she struggles with eating disorder, but she also struggles with her mental health. Very, very devoted husband. But it's kind of, why would she post
I know.
So this is her husband, Shane, sitting on the toilet with a life jacket on.
Yeah, that's us right up there. That's our live stream.
Us.
But anyway, so I guess a lot of people, because he does. There's a huge discussion, about their life, and I'm his wife, and so it's intimacy. The whole "he's not a burden" is one of her mantras.
Yeah.
I'm in love with him. He's not a burden. So this is a picture. I never even considered it, but so this is him sitting on the toilet, and she's got a life ring around to hold his neck up, so that I guess he can go by himself. So there's a little bit of independence there. I don't understand for the life of me why she would put that on Instagram, though. To me, now if I'm missing something there, it's whatever, because I follow both their Instagrams.
Because when you think about it, would she post a picture of her on the toilet? I bet she wouldn't. I bet she wouldn't post a picture of herself.
And it might be about the trolls and the mean people that are like, you got to clean up with this guy. I mean, because
she always takes very, very scantily dressed.
Yeah. Well, anybody that watches Black Bigelow,
yeah,
he's always doing the thing about, she's having sex. It's just not with him.
Yeah.
And you guys have you guys seen him.
This one, well, I don't know if I can. This is her. They've even got a black bar across her breasts in that one. And
she always shows her like she's in her bikini and whatever. With him. And
I'm just going to be honest, I don't think it's a real relationship.
And apparently Shane has had hot girlfriends before, caregivers before Hannah. He just happened to marry this
another
one.
Hannah, I think. The last
But-
girl, when she was beautiful too.
And the reason why, people might watch this and go, stop being mean or whatever.
Hey,
Or
Sarah.
stop being so, to me for talking about it. No, I'm just talking
Thank
about
you,
because
Sarah.
it's there. They put this out there on Instagram. They put this out there on YouTube.
Hey, I love Lucy.
And to me, it was like, I was going through on lunch and I saw that picture. I immediately snapped a picture to show you.
Do you remember when they were moving out of their old house and she had him on the kitchen counter?
You're just laying on the counter, right?
Yeah, she was like, okay. She's like, let me find Shane. And it was supposed to be a joke. And she had him laying on the kitchen counter. And then she picks him up to put him in his chair or whatever. And I guess I don't see how it could be to, normalize, his condition or just what is it called? Interabled or whatever. This is not about being interabled. This is about scoffing and mocking, to use Spirit Finder's thing or whatever. It's yeah, I don't demoralizing. Yeah, and if he's okay with it, he's okay with it. But what about the other people that have a condition or a similar condition who are not okay with it and are not okay with him being, a freak show?
Well, they would just say to those
Right?
people, yeah, don't put it all over the internet.
Right.
And the reason why I brought it up is because similar to Eugenia Cooney, this is bank for them.
Yeah.
This is a lot of money that they're making. And so a lot of the controversy is that why she's in this contract? I'm married to this guy.
They started doing coffee table book deals and videos and stuff from the get-go.
Yeah.
They were doing and at first it was sweet. I watched it at first and I thought it was kind of sweet. But Sarah Smiles is here. Did you say hi?
Hey, Sarah.
The other it was kind of a story that was unique or whatever, but it's taken a different turn. And he's a jerk. I'm sorry. I hate to say that. Just like the Rick Sykes thing, he's not, when he's trying to be witty or talk back or do whatever, to me, he's just a jerk. And she just kind of takes it. But the Black Bigelow, who's talked about it several times and has taken a lot of crap, and he's like, look, I'm just going to say it.
Yeah, he does too.
Because he's got a smoking hot wife. And it would be one thing if they were doing their little thing together. He's like, but they like open the video and she's like climbing out of the swimming pool in a bikini. And there he is sitting on an inner tube beside the pool.
Right.
And he's like, how is that like, it just, so that was, and he said, I don't for a second believe it's real. I think it's a what do you call it? It's a deal where they're making money off of it.
Yep.
And then she was like, he goes, and they always say, well, when it asks if they're having relations, and she'll go, yes, we do. And the black baby, well, yeah, you are.
Yeah, you're having it.
He's,
Lucy, I didn't see Lucy. She's here.
I love Lucy's here. Anyway.
And because there's a lot of, so I have a lot of Instagram stuff that I look at, and I don't have an Instagram channel. Every once in a while, I post the chickens on there every once in a while. It does okay. But I watch stuff, and Mandy will tell you, I find some weird stuff. And
they get like suggested to them, and I'm like, how do you even get suggested that?
It's a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of parents that they have their children, and they're born with the dwarfism type of, and these kids aren't supposed to live very long, right? But they do. And then they create this Instagram channel, and they have them on this Instagram channel. And there's one, it's called Miracle Man, and I could give it out if anyone's interested. And this child is now 18, but he still looks like he's 18 months old. That's what he looks like. But he's now 18, and you don't even know he's that old. But those parents are under a lot of criticism for banking off that. I don't know. I watch it. I don't know how.
The parents seem to be just. I mean, of course, everybody loves their kids, but the parents are like, they want people to see like how normal it is. And a lot of them are they Middle Eastern, most of them?
No, the ones with the dwarfism, they're Americans.
Okay.
I think one of them is they do show, and I do believe this, the love that you have, regardless of what happens. You know,
Yeah.
regardless of what.
Why did they take down?
So this one, Instagram, was called Prayers for Paisley, and you can just type that into Google. It used to be they had like a 250,000 followers or something like that, or 500,000, and it was Paisley's life, and she's only about 3 years old.
Adorable
Little girl, and she's got the dwarf. I don't know what it's called. It's the medical term, and they would have pictures of her all the time, and then suddenly the mother just said, I'm not going to have Paisley on anymore. I'm exploiting her, and that's not what I want to do. And she continued the Instagram about her life,
and nobody
what
watches.
she does, and nobody wanted to watch it. And you know, there was a little bit like, you only want to watch Paisley, you only want to see her, and it's like, yeah, that's why 500,000 people subscribed, because we wanted to see her. There wasn't a whole lot of, I mean, when you read the comments, they're positive. You know, you know. So anyway, those are out there.
Stitching, I agree. Alice needs to upload more. The white-haired goth girl.
The one that...
She wasn't smoking. She wasn't even pretending to smoke the other day. She didn't have anything, but she was... Y'all, if someone follows her, I don't... Now that I'm subscribed to her, but I wouldn't be able to find the thing. But she does videos, but you gotta catch it when she goes live. Because she is talking about... Yeah, she's talking about some like MK Ultra and stuff like that, and some, you know, just, you have to, and she's very serious. Exactly. Sarah says, I can't imagine humiliating myself to make money.
But the thing is that, like, for the children with dwarfism,
creative newborns,
if you watch it, like Miracle Man, I'll have to put the link in sometime. And
yes,
then you guys...
Elon Musk is gonna kill her.
It's gonna kill who?
Alice.
Oh, that sounds like, what's that other girl? Our other girl that half the hip hop community has violated her. What's her name? The one.
Oh, Heather Inman.
Heather Inman, that one.
She's on Clean Urine Stash. Puts her videos. Yeah. She's only on Facebook now because she stuck a camera up the hoo-ha, and that was it. YouTube said you can't do that. But
about
apparently
5 years
Facebook
ago you could. When the Crazy Vapor was doing his things, y'all remember the Crazy Vapor? One of the very first vlogs I ever did, this guy would, vape anything. He would crush it up, black pepper.
I'm surprised he didn't die.
Yeah, well, he did. He bleach.
Oh my God.
And so when he vaped bleach, vaping the bleach, and then he ends up going to the hospital.
You like that, Paula?
Yeah. He got taken down because he was vaping Carolina Reaper,
How did he live through that?
And well, what happened was he was vaping it, and he left the Reaper out, and I guess his 12-year-old grandson got a hold of it, and he got it all in his eyes and everything. And then when the 12-year-old went into the shower, he didn't show him in the shower, it was in his eye. And his grandfather was laughing about it and say he took his channel for that.
Did they go blind?
No, but anyone that's
Shoe Nice lost his for his binge drinking.
If you ever just, I don't see him much anymore, but you remember for a time, guys, about 5 years ago, you could just type in Carolina Reaper challenge or.
I know you did toe. Have you bitten into?
I haven't done Reaper. I was gonna, but I mean, it's horrible. I mean, it's hard to watch. It's funny sometimes. But then you don't see too much of that anymore. I think maybe they've put restrictions on it. Well, here's the thing. So let's say they could take his,
they could probably do an extraction.
When you are getting it on or whatever, and it's an act, and sometimes it's a.
Hold on, it's. They said that it's freezing. You guys are buffering. Is it better now? Well, we will pause. We will pause what we're saying until we know that it's fixed. Is it still doing it? Because I'll turn the let me turn the see they could extract it, and they've proven that Shane.
Hold on,
it's catching up.
Back. That's where you were saying.
She'd be like,
look at that. Ah! We're back now. It looks good now.
It doesn't look good now.
Yeah, it does.
No, look at it. robot thing.
It'll
It
come
should
back.
cycle
Yeah.
now. It's because we were talking about Elon Musk.
I know, he got us. You're good now.
Okay.
So when you are, so that's the thing, and everyone looks at Hannah, and especially
I bet they'd be-
about Black Bigelow talking about how hot she is and this and that, and and if you ever watch Black Bigelow, he has the thing for what's the other girl, the one that had the channel,
Christina Randall.
Christina Randall. So when
she's a good creator too.
he's a good troll, but he talks about sex and all that. So he's talking about there's no way. It's like, yes, they can have sex, they love each other, and they can have, but there's no way he satisfies her. There's no way that he
I'm still talking.
does what you know what I mean. And that's the point that a lot of people are saying is that sure.
She says their sex is completely normal.
Yeah, she says that their sex are completely normal. I mean, people just don't buy it. Now, if you love somebody, you love somebody, and you. Like Mandi said, Mandi has said to me, and I tend to agree with her, if one of us could no longer have sex, then that essential need would be diminished because the person that you love and that you've given your heart and soul to and this and that, but so I guess if you look at it like that, then if Hannah really loves him that way, then yes, but she is saying that all the actions and all the functions and everything that people have questions about is normal.
I think she should just stay clear of the subject.
Right, she should steer clear of it, but no one buys that because of what? Who is it that said that? Stitching?
Well, I Love Lucy said that it would hurt if she.
Right, I Love Lucy said, yeah, that it would hurt him, right? So anyway, that's the big controversy. That's the big thing that people talk about.
I'll let you get him inside, and I'll take the stream for a second.
Is he going potty?
Oh, there he goes. Yeah, he'll come back. I just want to make sure he comes back in before I have to turn it back. Oh, he did need to go. Come on, Sawyer.
He just wanted one of us to take him out.
Sawyer, come on. Come on, baby. Come get your baby. Come on. Come get your baby. But the other thing is,
Can y'all hear her? No.
she can't say that they have that it's as completely normal as everyone else because he can't physically do it. There he's coming. You know what I mean? It can absolutely be satisfying, for them. However, they're able to.
But you're right.
Say that they can do everything anyone.
Right,
else
like yes, I hear what you're saying, but and that's what Hannah was trying to get at was that the whole act,
exactly,
the whole boom boom was like as eventful in movement wise and everything as anybody else's, and that's just not possible.
I think they should have just taken the attitude from the beginning.
Hey, by the way,
it's none of your business how we do
exactly.
it. I don't know why
this Mandi said the right thing. It's not anybody's business.
No.
But again, if you choose to put yourself on YouTube and you choose, you're gonna be subject to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think that it's weird. Like in the beginning when they do Q&As and they go, do y'all have sex or whatever? I mean, if I were, I'd be like, do you?
Exactly.
If
we ever have Q&As again and
way,
people ask about, I'm just going to have Mandi answer the question.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, no, you don't do it the same because you
right.
She says it's not a life-limiting. Now
that is true. That I would agree. It's not.
She's saying his condition is not life-limiting, but his muscles are going away. How can it not be?
Yeah. I mean, he's already far exceeded his life expectancy.
Has he?
I think that's what they said.
I don't know.
Because he's in his mid-20s or something like that, late 20s.
Something like that. I know you're going to have to give us a few minutes, Sawyer Brown, and then I'll give you your final. He is high maintenance. I don't know anybody who has
There's something wrong tonight. He's really high maintenance. You want to go see the chickens again? Look at his ears. That's what he wants.
Loaf, I think.
You want something to eat?
Anyway, but we are going to Presley. We are going to give him the loaf. Like you got to give. He gives. We buy those rolls of
dog food loaf. We call it.
Yes, Presley, you just got here in time. We're not buffering anymore. But the one that we got, this big salmon one, he doesn't like it. So I cut it apart and give it to the
Chickens like it.
chickens. I don't like giving the chickens chicken, even though they can have it.
Yeah.
Sean's like, they love it. That may be.
It's
That
they're
may
not.
be.
That's
But
right.
it's just something inherently wrong with it.
Yeah. But
How was work, Presley? Every time I see a brand new Malibu, I think of Presley. She got herself a pimped out Malibu.
look at by the way, look at that little
I know. I wonder where did that cute little thing come from? By the way, how'd you make the little cute thing come up?
is it on there?
She must have a special, like she must have a.
You buy that? You kind of buy it.
No. Long day, Presley. I'm sorry. How's Hubs? Is he feeling better? I keep keeping up with Karen, Presley, their husbands, making sure that everybody.
Right,
It
let
is
it
like
go. It is like
cannibalism.
cannibalism. They don't know,
But Sean is like anything that we eat, and like if we're done with it and we're not gonna like, if the leftover period's gone, he goes, I'm gonna see if the chicken's gonna eat it.
Yep.
We don't give them pasta and bread.
They get mad at me at work because like somebody will have like apple pie, and apple pie has been
Right.
in the fridge for like a week or whatever, and they're like, I'm gonna throw this out, and I'll be like, hey, and they're like, no, Sean,
The chickens
you're
can't
not,
eat it.
you know, but they could, but they're like, okay, go get, where's Sean at? Get whatever you want out of the fridge before we clean it out. You know, take whatever
Look,
you want
Stitching's
home.
got all kinds of cool ones too. Yeah,
Oh,
we
that's
stay
cool.
away from pasta, breads, right? That's pretty much it though. Pasta and bread, we don't give them that, right?
No, they don't.
No
they're
pasta or
not. They're
bread.
not supposed to have. Like Shauna says, I love it. Y'all sitting beside the warm, inviting tree. Can you see the tree? Is it over here? Yeah, our tree's
Well,
over here, but
I think they saw it when we showed it yesterday.
so yeah, the tree is here. If I'm pointing like so behind the phone is where the fireplace
I was
is,
gonna show-
and then we have a couch here, and then we have our little streaming couch.
Oh, the thumbnail, honey. The
Oh,
thumbnail had it both in. You see how smart we can be?
Yes, we are.
This was from last year. Did you remember did we get this before or after Christmas? It says new home 2021. Can y'all see it?
New rental.
New trailer. We're going to put it, I have it hanging on one of those little ornament displays.
See this right here, guys? Who's watching college football? There's your defending national champions that are
Yeah, isn't it
favored
cute?
to win it again.
It doesn't say we own it. It says we own the ornament.
Yeah, we own the ornament.
But anyway, I try to buy ornaments every year to start a collection. I don't think, have you ever had an ornament collection? Probably with Jessica, y'all did.
Well, kind of, but I mean,
but not in the recent.
you can only fit so much stuff into a Mustang.
No,
or
that's what
whatever.
I mean though. Like when you would PCS and stuff, did you have Christmas decorations?
What
and
I did
tubs
have, what I had that slowly went away, and then by the time we got divorced, I mean, she kept most of it. I used to get the crystal steins.
Oh, yeah.
So like all over Germany, I had a whole bunch of them. Because when you buy the
yes, Sarah.
like well, they're like glass here, but a lot of times when you buy the stuff in Germany, it is crystal, and you can get it at a much better price. And so a lot of Americans, when we're over there, we just buy as many as we can. If we go to a different town or pub or whatever, we just buy a crystal glass. So we have all kinds. And then as you pack them up and you move from place to place in the military, you break 2 or 3 every time you move. And so by the time you do 16, 17 years, you don't have many left.
Right. I'm a super packer.
She is a super. It's Mandy's shaking her head. She goes, "That would have never
happened
happened."
to me. I mean,
never
I can
happened.
count on maybe 2 over the years. Now, what did happen is, and if you give this as a gift, don't take offense to this, but you've always got the person that gives you the sterling silver champagne flutes with your date on it for when you get married.
Kind of
Sorry
like the one
if
I have
that's
for
not you.
the OCS one I have up
No,
there,
like
whatever.
no, sterling. Sterling
Oh.
plated at the very least. It's an old school thing, kind of like the ones that when you have your baby, they'll give you like a sterling silver baby rattle or a fork and knife, fork and spoon set. It's with the date and everything. It's an old school thing, but some people still do it. The damn movers took those 2 sterling. Those 2 champagne flutes, the sterling ones, like right off the bat, like we had gotten married And right off the bat, when we were moving to England, the movers had taken it. We didn't realize till we got there. And I was like, well,
Sarah
my
says,
family's
I found the
cheap,
emojis.
so I guarantee you it wasn't like solid sterling. And but you know what I'm talking about? You didn't like with your first, no one gave you like a sterling spoon with the date on it.
I have never been in a wedding, so
No. When you're like, none of your family members, when your girls were born, like when the first one was born, nobody gave you like a sterling spoon
No,
set.
she was born in
like
Germany, and we didn't. They never met her. They didn't meet her till she was like 4 months old.
I got one with both of them, and it was probably from the same person. And I got it, and I was like, as a matter of fact, it's in the baby box. I'm not going to pull it out, but
Sean was like, cheap, and they stole it.
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, well, bad for y'all, man. It's cheap as anything, and y'all stole it and probably went to pawn it. I don't have family like that.
The big thing that all the GIs did in the 80s, and then when I was there in the 90s, there's two things that you get in Germany when you get stationed there. Everyone would get grandfather clocks, because they're
that's what I'm talking about.
They
Sarah
don't
knows.
like the grandiose grandfather clocks of the 19th century, in early 20th century. They don't really make those anymore. Those are classics. I mean, they're just not functional. You don't have the big grandfather clocks anymore. In Europe, they're still making them. In Germany in the 90s, they were still making them, and you could buy them for a third of the price, a quarter of the price that you would have to buy them. So, the military personnel would buy these things and then ship them home. The other things were called shrunks.
I was going to ask you, did you have a shrunk?
I didn't have one.
They're heavy as I don't know what and take up a whole wall, but
So
everyone had one.
Not just a wall, a little wall, like a whole wall of a living room.
Shauna,
They're like wall to wall shelving,
solid oak,
and the shrunks. You guys know what I'm talking about. And you with drawers, they're like dressers.
Yes, let it go.
A dresser, and it would go on for like 8 or 9 feet.
And there were different types.
And sometimes you could get them in 2 or 3 pieces. And Mandy's right; they might weigh 600 pounds. But anyway, you could buy them in Germany, and it was almost like so they would sell them to Americans. They'd have payment plans, like you could pay it for like a car for like 3 years. You pay
they look like
$150 a month for 3 years for this $5,000 or $6,000 shrunk. That would cost you $15,000 or $20,000 to buy. I mean, it's just a monstrosity piece of furniture. But the problem was
they look like there's a different type.
Yeah,
but this is a one. Like, look at that.
And it was a pain in the butt to move.
Yeah,
so
they
the
would
whole
ask
thing was
you.
like it looks great because you buy it in Germany. The companies would bring it over. They'd set it up in whatever quarters or whatever house you were living in Germany. But eventually, within the next couple of years, you had to move that, humongous heavy piece of furniture. You had to pack it up.
Well, and the movers would move it.
They'd move it, but sometimes it cost extra to do it. Like
they would always ask when they would do
do the inventory.
They'd be like, "Do you have a shrunk?" And it was like, "No, I don't have one of them big
and they
ass
go, "Thank God."
I didn't. We were in England, and they didn't. That wasn't a thing. But all of my friends who'd been to Germany, you would walk into their house, and they would have like a whole wall or 2 walls or something full of it. And I'm like, I bet that son of a bitch weighs a lot. And they're like, oh yeah. And sometimes you hit your weight limit.
And you might, you pay your $100 a month for 2 years, and that's with interest and everything.
And they don't repo it or anything.
But it's I don't know how they would do it. A lot of times it was through AFES, but this is a piece of furniture that you might pay like, and it might be a $10,000 or $12,000 piece of furniture that you're getting in Europe for a third of the price. That was the selling point.
That's cool.
Yeah. And
thank you, Sarah. They're saying that it's amazing to see Sean find a real woman who treats him the way he deserves. I think these two are made for each other. Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
agree.
Hey, Khaki.
And the thing about getting up and working, when you're coming home to what I come home to every night, it's easier to just keep working, keep doing what I have to. And I say that like I hate my job. I don't hate my job.
It's rewarding this time of year, I bet.
But we don't have enough people.
Yeah, but I can see you. You get something from it this time of year.
And it's a good paying job.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of hours. I mean, if like during the summer, I work a lot, but it might be 50 hours a week. I'm going to be putting in like 60, 65 hours in 6 days right now. I'm going to put in 6 11-hour days. And sure, it's a great paycheck, but I don't really get to enjoy a lot of
That is
the Christmassy
the
Yeah.
worst part of it. There's no traveling. There's no, because this is the time of year.
This is the time that the Postal Service, and you guys know, everybody knows, the post office is struggling, just even
Yeah.
without it being the Christmas season, with COVID,
Sawyer.
since COVID, the businesses that run like the post
Have
office,
you seen any customers fight?
not customers, but they're
Stop.
bitchy. They're like really. When is this going to get there? Well, I
Don't
want to
do
send it
that.
2-day, and it's like, well, the only 2-day guarantee we have is express. This says 2-day. Okay, so well, it's not going to be 2 days. How about that? But it's okay. So 3 days, maybe 5 days. Okay.
And you're like, and when you're like, that's not okay. You're like, well,
Okay. Go to FedEx and pay them
go
$200.
find Pony Express.
We're gonna mail this for $20 and get it there in about 4 days. You want to go get
Thank
it there
you,
in 2 days?
Sarah,
FedEx
really,
will
thank
charge
you.
you $70, and you get it there in 2 days.
Ditto, Sarah. Sarah's a solid peep. She's a good person. She was saying that amazing wife might be stretching it,
She's an amazing wife.
but
She is.
But the thing is like, I always say, like, when it works and it fits, then all of the rest of the stuff, it's easy. When you clean the house and you have someone that comes in and says, wow, it looks really good. Oh my God, thank you for dinner. It's not about ass kissing.
Yeah.
It's about it makes it worth it. And I think a lot of men don't realize how much it means for what you
Right.
do to be recognized.
And on the other hand, hold on, Sean, I have something I want you to talk to you about, but obviously not during your stream. Yeah. By the way, just are you on Twitter?
She's on Twitter. I
Yeah.
think.
Just DM me on Twitter or DM Mandi. The other thing is like Mandi cooks dinner, and she feels like if she doesn't, like tonight, for instance, when you're like, go get this because I didn't. She does it when I come home and there's dinner. It's a bonus. Coming home is that's the thing.
And
Coming
I gotta
home to
say,
somebody.
I gotta be honest, when my kids were grown and gone, never made dinner anymore.
Right.
And so when you do it just for the fact that you want to take care of your husband, and for whatever that means. I remember once my kids were gone, I was like, dinner obligation.
Yeah.
You know,
And I think it was you, Sarah, that you were talking about the job that you do and you do it to provide for you and your husband, right? I think it was Sarah, somebody that said the insurance they get from their job to help. It might have been somebody else, but it's so true. Mandi works when she can, but when she doesn't want to, or she has other stuff to do to take care of the house. She's a chicken mom, right?
Yeah.
I love the fact that she can get up when she wants to get up, go to bed when she wants to go to bed, and I can provide the platform for that. It's everything. I know that not everybody are in relationships like that. I know you aren't in one. I mean, he expected you to work.
No matter how, and it wasn't a bad thing. It was just, that was the expectation.
That's just what it was, right? It's just a contract.
Yeah.
You showed me that you can work. And I don't mean that like to patronize you, but I was in relationships where they didn't work, and I was okay with that. I was fine with it.
You were, and then when I started working right before the pandemic or whatever, and I would get paid and I'd be like, you're like, I
wasn't
that's your
used
money.
to.
And
I wasn't
like,
used
my
to somebody.
Money.
Yeah,
it's our money.
She'd get her paycheck and she goes here, and I was like, but you made that. I've never used to anybody under a roof that I provided that made another income, and I'm not. And I was okay. I'm great with that. I'm traditional like that, I guess.
We were spoiled to that weekly check.
Yeah.
I would hit the bank when I left on Friday. Hit the bank, cash it, and become like, make it rain. That is actually where we got a lot of the stuff that we amassed after moving in here. It was from that income.
It wasn't Sarah. Yeah.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah,
See, everybody saw that. She
Yeah,
can try to say
yeah.
whatever. He'd be juggling a whole bunch of things, bringing her dinner, probably not laying the pipe. Yes, Presley. I like I said, when I used to say it more in the beginning than I did too, I used to say you threw them out one too many times, and
Even
someone was waiting
Yep.
to scoop them up.
Yeah.
One
I
too many
mean,
times, and it could have been anybody. You didn't know who
yeah.
was watching. It just happened to be this bitch you really hate named ATX
Yeah, that a lot
that
of
you
people,
really hate.
a lot talking to people, and them like, you deserve all the happiness, and da. Well, I'm dating ADX. Oh, fuck no.
No,
And
she's
they
a
was like, you
stupid
can't
bitch,
do
and I'm
that.
like,
Yeah.
well, yeah. And
But
that was when people realized that, and you never know what goes on in people's homes.
but Mandy touched on it. It's like when I was working and Mandy was working. Yeah, I mean, we could go buy what we want. We ate out. We did whatever. But I miss her.
Yeah.
And so when I wasn't working, the time that I was here, she would be working, and then the demands that her client needed were more and more.
It always
We would have
happens.
had to have been living over there.
This is more rewarding. I had to get through the initial, period of time. Yeah, I know. I hope she doesn't come back, Presley. The period of time to get used to the fact that we weren't, having this weekly whatever. And then once I settled into it, I make my bed in the morning when I get up, which if anyone had ever told me that half the day would be spent in bed if I wasn't working, I wouldn't have believed them. Not doing whatever in bed, reading, watching TV, whatever. I make it when I get up, and the rest of the day I stay busy. And that
Yes,
is
she does.
completely attributed to the fact that I'm happy and fulfilled and I'm in a good place. Look at the dust on the fan.
See, she's noticing dust on the fan. That's
always-
mentally on her list
I wonder
for tomorrow.
how. I usually keep all the ceiling fans on, even in the wintertime, but I've always wondered, how does a ceiling fan collect dust when it's on all the time?
But
Your dad could explain this probably.
Yeah, my dad, the engineer, would be able to do it. It's the way that it all
Right.
probably, it's like a magnet, because it'll be just on the edges.
Right, so it gets caked thick.
A lot
so
of it.
when it goes, I guess the way the wind, it takes it up, and then and then it just traps it.
Yeah, this is the only room, like most of the rooms,
Someone's
when we
got.
flip the lights on in the whatever room
I
goes on.
guarantee you, someone here knows why that is.
Yeah, but this is the only fan that's not on a
And
lot.
why isn't? Oh, because it kind of squeaks a little bit.
We're never out here. We just
From cooking
there's
oils.
two-
Okay.
There's two switches. One's
Yeah, he's not coming back, girlfriend.
yeah, no. Yeah. And the other thing about it, when she lets, it's like, look,
Presley came across Sean.
yeah, I can,
Yes.
it's odd because when you're taking care of someone's mental health, you're trying to fix it all the time, and you got to keep a lawyer,
On retainer.
all the time. And yeah, I'm not even kidding. It's like when we talk about, our friends and the people on YouTube that are in court and this and that, I know all about it. It's BS that I do. It's not a good thing, but blah blah blah. You got all these like YouTube attorneys, and they don't know what they're talking about.
When we left after Thanksgiving, whatever year it was, from his parents' house, and we had to decide, were we going to go towards the Carolinas and physically get an attorney and get the stuff and all of that, or were we going to go back to Texas? Because it had been a long visit. We got your stuff and the attorney same visit, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we drove out there one day. We bedded down.
I had never ever hired an attorney for anything. Even in my divorce, which was going on, didn't hire an attorney. You don't have to if it's not contested. So I did a search for #1 divorce attorney, Onslow County. That's exactly. It wasn't cheap, but it was the #1 rated, and he was a veteran too.
He was a veteran.
So anyway, we've already told about when you went to the office and did all that, but
when you're in a good place,
how do you find an attorney?
Because people used to say during that how does an Army officer end up doing this, or how does an Army officer work here? You guys remember he was an Army officer. How does this happen? How Al just Al just redid the video of me in Iraq. How do you fall from that? And it really wasn't a fall. It's just like you settle and then you take care of what you got to take care of. There was no room for me. I mean, I had Camp Lejeune right there in Jacksonville, and I didn't contract. How silly is that?
She said you needed to be available
Right.
and she needed you.
How does a veteran with a veteran's preference and VA disability preference not banking a job that they have to hire me for on Camp Lejeune making 50, 60, 80
Well,
grand?
and that's
And I
what
couldn't.
when we started talking about what was he going to do? Was he going to write a book? Was he going to go to school? Was he going to do whatever? And then you know, what kind of job? I was like, you can do whatever you want, but you don't have to work at a grocery store or a convenience store. You do know that you are capable of you know, and I think that not to make he definitely was not a victim. He had lost sight of the fact that he
Well,
was
yeah.
extreme.
And
he
I was a little bit scared too.
Yeah.
It's like the very first job I got when Mandy and I were together was at a grocery store.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit better paying because of COVID and all that. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now for what I was getting paid there
Right.
though. I get paid
He
good.
started, and the
And-
day he started, they upped the thing because of COVID.
Right.
That
Right.
critical responder, and he had a little letter in his car that said he worked at a grocery store.
Yeah, so I could be like when the whole town was on lockdown, I could drive my car, and if the cop says I'm going to work third shift at the grocery store, which the grocery stores were an essential function
There was
during
a
that.
few things that they had to keep open. The liquor stores, because people could seize
Yeah.
and die if they were alcoholics.
Yeah,
The grocery stores. Really, the gas stations were open, some of them for necessities, but they didn't have to sell gas. They did,
They did,
but they didn't have to sell gas because they were like, you would need to take your ass home.
take your ass home, and then I'd flash my card. I work at a grocery store. Well, fill your car up
Fill your car all the way up.
and get your kratom.
It would be it would be so funny because like at night I'd be like, I want some M&Ms, and I'd be like, can we go to 7-Eleven? Or is
It's
that
almost like the Day of the Dead. It's like maybe okay.
so if they ask, we're going to get milk.
We had a grocery store. Like if you pulled off out of our apartment,
Yes.
and went to the right, it was literally like a half a mile up. You just
Karen.
shut the headlights off. We can make it. Yeah.
Karen said, I worked for the courts in the family law department for years. My hubby said if he ever wanted a divorce, he'd be screwed. And don't you think that wasn't when we were going through the divorce? That was another one that she turned her back on. Karen, the beast, turned her back on and treated like shit. And her and Loretta both. And it's not, I don't want to say we were gathering friends because that's not what we do. But if you notice the ones that came from over there to ours, we have, for the most part, we haven't lost them. We're good friends with them.
One of the things
We
that
build friendships instead of
Yes,
destroying them.
That's right. One of the things that she didn't take, one of the many
Yes.
things that she didn't take into consideration, like all the normal stuff, like when you shit can something, you know, one of the things she didn't realize is that her YouTube presence was more valid and better when I was there because of the way that I would run. And then the thing is that she didn't realize that YouTube, the DC, was my community too. You know, that I had a lot more people gunning for me to get away from her than wanted me to stay.
Yeah.
And I think that she didn't get that at all. That's not something that.
Yeah, nobody was really, I think for the first couple of times, like people were like kind of hoping they could work it out, but by the 5th, 6th, 7th last time, people were like, dude, get the fuck out.
And I think like the first couple times when you discover a locale or whatever, or the DC with us, it was kind of like, look at this shit show. And you know, right, it's look at these two clowns.
Nobody would be able to.
And then it was like they didn't really know too much, and then people would watch it, and they'd watch the cycle, and every time the cycle, they'd go, this guy's, get the fuck out of there, man, you know. And that'd be people that didn't care one way or the other really were like, dude.
Even that little clip today that that Paula had showed, she showed the rest, but the clip. So Sean's driving, and she turns on the thing, the beast says, and she says, we're just doing a quick little vlog to let you know everything's fine. We went out to eat. I know it was a little tense earlier, but we're gonna go live in an hour, and we're gonna talk about, I think it was about Takedown Man. And Sean kept going, like at first she would like hold the camera over there and show it or whatever. And she'd be like, oh, and Sean's like, Okay. Like you could, and the chick went just a quick little, I think Sean was probably like, don't turn the fucking live stream on.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
she wanted to make damage control because
it
they
was-
must
it
have
was
gotten in a
very,
hell of an
very-
argument that
it was very, very important that
people know that
people
y'all went out to
understood.
eat.
Yeah. And there's a lot of shit shows out there that's important. You know, when you look at these people on YouTube, it's part of the show, you know, and I didn't like that. I mean,
no, you
if
could tell
Mandy,
did not.
if Mandy and I wanted to be part of the show, we had a chance to do that when we first started our channel. You know, we could have, and it was just not. You're not really going to know if we're ever fighting. You're never going to know because we really don't. But even the times when we, you know,
The
just
overhead light.
something like that, it's really not going to be. And I'm telling you, I'm much better at realizing that too. At first, I was
Yeah.
like, she's mad.
Yeah, and
mad.
in the beginning, I think it was because he wasn't used to the fact that, you know, my irritation and whatever, that's about the extent it's going to go. You're not going to get thrown out.
Yeah, you're not going to get.
You
thrown
don't
out.
have to take me, you know, to a movie and out to eat and buy me fly and do whatever.
Yeah.
That's really the extent of what's going to happen.
Right.
Most
and
women
9
just
times
want to
out
be
of 10,
validated, and
yeah.
it's over.
9 times out of 10, it
Yeah.
starts from something that doesn't have anything to do
Has
with me.
nothing to do.
When,
no.
when I get my way, it's nothing. You know, I've one of the things that I've learned through being with Mandy
Yes.
is that she's the very, very best thing ever. And every situation that I have that in my life is better with her in it. So if I'm having a bad day or I'm just in a bad mood or whatever, don't sabotage it by being a shithead to her too.
Yeah.
Don't be an ass to her because she's going to make things better if I let her.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That's-
No, that's
and it's-
true.
It took
But
about 50 years walking
It
around
took
on
a
Earth
lot
to
of it took
understand
a
that.
lot of step work and whatever. And some people they work with therapists and they do it, but it takes a long time before you accept that it's never them. It's always you because you have a problem with something that's bothering you. It doesn't matter whether it's grounded. This person thinks it's fair. It's always you. Like when you're driving and get pissed off, I always say it's always me. Always. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah. I mean,
that's just the way that it is.
Yeah, there are things that, yeah, we don't have to go.
Well, I
yeah.
always say
Yeah,
if we got into like a few arguments, I'll go after we, you know, take a breather, like you said, about 5 minutes later, I'll go, just so you know, it had nothing to do with you and everything to do with and it's me.
Presley, yeah, gets to sleep, girl.
Get
4
some
4
sleep.
a.m. does come early.
You need to make sure you're getting enough sleep.
Yeah, I
Have
mean,
a good night, Presley.
I
Love you,
at
girl.
least don't have to roll. I don't roll out of bed till about 7. So,
Look at
but
Scout says it's bedtime. He says this is bullshit that we haven't put him to bed. You ready to go night night?
Sarah's like, my hubby actually said, "Why does this man stay with that whack job?" It's amazing to me
Go night night.
when
What is that? A silverfish?
when all the support I got when I left, and it's like again, if I wanted. With my channel, I did some vlogs, and if I wanted to, you know, grow that channel around the drama, I could have. Every time, I just kind of don't because this is better. But yeah, she makes my life better.
Sports
So.
stuff. Look at Scout looking at Storm.
Yeah, look at these.
Is that a silverfish that Storm's looking at?
It might be. I hope not. Mandy will be up all night.
Well, Storm's pondering it. Scout's.
Is it right? The one that's right in front of her.
Before we go, I'll show.
Oh, he just rolled back the other way.
Okay, so there's going to be a little bit of a. Scout, is it your bedtime, Scout? What the hell is it? What is that? It's a freaking leaf. Y'all are sitting there stalking a leaf. Storm, you're stalking a leaf, Storm. Storm. You're Storm. Say hi, Storm. Can you see her? There's Sawyer. That's a leaf. Y'all have been stalking a leaf. Anyways, okay. Oop. Okay, you guys, let's say goodnight, Sean.
Okay. I was looking at my replay here, and I'm like, I'm about 2 minutes behind. Now we're caught back up, though.
We're caught back up. Okay.
Hey, we got to go, guys.
We have to go. Y'all have a great night. Oh, we should have held it this closer.
I have to put this beauty to bed. I want
Good night. Have a good night, y'all.
Have a good night, guys.
Bye. I wanted to make sure we were